And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. Smash-O here, coming at you from the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. And we've got massive filaments. Filaments all around. What are they? What are they going to do? Are they going to eject? Well, filaments are bits of plasma that are suspended in the solar corona. They can lead to coronal mass ejections. Remember, folks, we don't need solar flares or even sunspots to see coronal mass ejections. We covered many of them around solar minimum, actually. So some huge filament activity over here in the right around the eastern equatorial region. Let's go around the horn here since we're bringing you some fresh imagery. These are composites, by the way. This is the last 24 hours from SDO. 304 angstroms ionized helium and 193 angstroms ionized iron. So huge filaments hanging out down there in the southwest as well. Also, you've got the Elon Musk filament right here. We're naming them after living people. And over here, you've got the Nancy Pelosi filament, just named yesterday. Shout out to longtime viewer Robert for naming that filament the Nancy Pelosi filament. Let's see what's going on as far as sunspots go. Well, we've got a couple more named groups showing up here in the northeast. These two groups up here got names, I believe. That's your SDO intensitygram for yesterday plus today. Here's your SDO magnetogram for that same time period. Looks like things have been mostly stable for sunspots here over the past 24 hours. No major changes happening there. And don't forget to press like and subscribe. If you enjoy the content, tell your friends and foes about the channel. Press share, because we don't believe YouTube recommends the content. Check out the thumbnails. I mean, they're only the freshest thumbnails you'll ever see in your life. And yeah, YouTube claims that people just don't click our videos. Seems like space weather would be, I don't know, of high levels of interest at the moment with the current state of affairs, with all the interest in space travel and so on. We didn't just leverage ourselves here because of fads, though. I realized back in the mid-1990s that I needed to do a deep dive into heliophysics because of the implications on cosmology. So if you want to support the content by becoming a member of the Smash Team, please do. SmashoMash.com/SmashTeam is our subscription services site with which we replaced Patreon. So we still do have Patreon. If you want to become a patron, feel free. The credit crawl is coming back by the end of the year. So look for that coming soon. If you want your name in the credit crawl, become a gold or silver Smash Team member at SmashoMash.com/SmashTeam. The best value is the 1-year annual paid-up subscription, by the way. Also, you can find links to the Hemp Lucid shop right there on the Smash Team page. Right there is the Hemp Lucid link. Click that and you'll find this. You can still save some cash by using the promo code SmashoMash10 or by shopping via our link. So do your Christmas CBD and other types of different remedies for various things like sleep, focus, etc. Links below the video as well as on our homepage at SmashoMash.com. And let's take a look at what volcanoes are erupting. That is Stromboli there. And we were told yesterday by one of our viewers that Mark Zuckerberg has already purchased and built a wall around the new real estate on the new peninsula at Sierra del Fuoco. Anyway, it looks like things might be calming down there. It doesn't look super hot, but there is still some lava making its way down the slope toward the ocean or the Mediterranean. Shivaluch also exploding, flight level 140. It's a 14,000-foot ash plume. Abiko, 14,000-foot ash plume. Sakurajima, 7,000-foot ash plume. Mauna Loa's lava flows have slowed down because of flatland. The lava flow is still about 3.1 kilometers from the Saddle Road, otherwise known as the Daniel K. Inouye Highway. Popocatépetl exploding, flight level 210 over central Mexico. It's a 21,000-foot ash plume. 15,000-foot ash plume over Guatemala from Fuego as it explodes. Nevado del Ruiz exploding, 25,000-foot ash plume over Colombia. Sangay, volcanic ash not observed from satellite imagery. Don't assume it's not erupting. Revenador is erupting in an explosive fashion, producing a 16,000-foot ash plume. Flight level 160 and Sabancaya continuous emissions over Peru are an indication to not pole vault the caldera, but do visit our links. Next, looking at earthquakes over the past 24 hours. There's the past 90 days in a convenient bar graph form, thanks to volcanodiscovery.com for that. And let's run up the list here. No major quakes over the past 24. Things have been pretty calm in terms of magnitude and number of quakes. Not a super low number of quakes, but very low magnitude quakes. So barely even reaching into the 5 magnitude range. Did we even have a 5 in the past 24 hours? Still not seeing a 5 on the list here. South Sandwich Islands had a 5 that nobody felt because it's in the middle of the border region between the South Atlantic and the Southern Ocean. There we go. Philippines had a 5.2. Somebody probably felt that one. And that's the largest quake of the past 24. I believe also Indonesia had a 5.0. And let's get back to space. It is the main focus after all of these videos. And check it out. It's the last 24 in ionized helium. We've also got a great composite for you here. Here is... That's 1,700 angstroms plus 335 angstroms. As we bring you the most detailed imagery of the closest star in the known universe. Also the most comprehensive space weather you'll find, chock full of facts, zero fraud and misrepresentation of science. Zero. The videos are designed to not offend anybody. Or perhaps to offend everybody. In any case, the 10.7 centimeter radial flux is now up to, looks like it's at 150. Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard is saying it's only at 144. I'm not so sure about that. So I pressed refresh, and it would be refreshing if it was refreshing. That would be just fantastic. In any case, the 1-year graph here from Solon.info is showing the radial flux at 150 solar flux units. We are about to enter geomagnetic storm conditions because we've got a huge change in the magnetic field. Check it out. The magnetic field is now 14 nanotesla and a BZ of negative 13. So we're going to be entering geomagnetic storm conditions probably by the time this video appears on YouTube. It was originally streamed to twitch.tv/smashamash. If you didn't catch it live, it would be a YouTube exclusive. In any case, there's the forecast. NOAA not forecasting geomagnetic unrest conditions until late in the day today. We're going to be in at least geomagnetic unrest, probably geomagnetic storm conditions like KP5 at the next update for the planetary K index. Let's take a look at Earth's magnetic moment from space. You'll see a huge increase in the pressure here just in the past couple of hours. This imagery represents 4 hours, if all goes well. Here you should see a huge increase happening in the pressure right at the end of this. We'll let that play through again. There's a minor increase about 2 hours ago. Mark my words, we're going into geomagnetic storm conditions. Anyway, that's Earth's magnetic moment from space to about 12 Earth diameters. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. This will show you the most likely places to see aurorae, pipeline induction, rail line induction, power line induction. It's our ground magnetic perturbations global map. We show it daily on the channel. There you can see a big increase here in geospace delta B. Changes to Earth's B field, the field that goes through the magnet, this magnet being planet Earth. So here you see the KP is only at 0.67. You could round that to KP1, I guess. Planetary K index is a measurement of global geomagnetism. And again, we are going to see geomagnetic storm conditions kicking up at the next update. So check it out, the BT-BZ there, 14 for the BT-BZ, negative 13. So most of that magnetic field is South Pole or southern, coming from the south. So that is the most likely scenario for high levels of electrical induction. So you can expect geomagnetic storm conditions coming here. I don't think we've reached the peak of the coronal hole high-speed stream initial density wave either. I think we're going to get to about 35 protons per cubic centimeter. We have seen a huge change in the field here. Again, I'm forecasting a little bit higher levels of solar wind density. At the moment, we got about 15.7 protons per cubic centimeter for the solar wind density. Solar wind speed about 370 kilometers per second. A minor uptick there. Expect a lot more significant uptick coming in the next day or two. Really, frankly, in the next couple of hours, we can expect to see we may even see the solar wind density increase. We may see it double. And with that, if we see this field increasing as well, and a strong negative BZ signal continuing up there, that top red line there, you can expect to see geomagnetic storm conditions coming in short order. Next, looking at magnetic data, this is the GOES 16 and GOES 17's magnetometers. A bit of a divergence happening there recently. That is close to midnight local time there for the GOES 17. That's what that blue M stands for. Midnight local time. The N stand for noon local time for the satellite. And let's take a look at the top view ecliptic plane field plot. We still do have some north solar polar magnetism at the north solar polar region. As solar cycle 25 takes its time to progress in terms of magnetic field reversal. At the moment, that's what's going on. Earth remains in a south pole-oriented current sheet. Here's our line of sight plot. Now the sun's B field is depicted in blue. North solar polar field in green, south solar polar field in red, and let's move to coronal holes. Probably the most important feature of a solar cycle. Many people think it's sunspots. I think it's coronal holes. It's really anybody's guess until it's a little bit more accepted as to how that thing works. In any case, there's our line of sight coronal hole plot, and we've got well-defined coronal hole here rotating toward the west. That is what we are likely receiving some solar wind inputs from at the moment. And we do have some more coronal holes here rotating in the east. They appear to be South Pole oriented over here, so those will get more defined in the next couple of days. Let's move to sunspots next. So indeed, we did get these two groups named here, 3159 and 3160. Besides that, things mostly stable here over the past 24 hours. Let's take a look at the SDO magnetogram. And I'm not satisfied with that. Are you? So we'll zoom in a little bit closer. Once again, things pretty stable here. We've added 335 angstroms for your viewing pleasure. Add a little bit of character there. And here is the SDO continuum with 335 angstroms. And let's subtract the 335 angstroms so you can appreciate the sunspots. And wow, that is a lot of sunspots. A lot of sunspots, and some larger than Earth itself. And next, let's move to energetic particles. So occasionally, especially when we see large solar flares, we get things called proton events. where we have relativistic particles hurled at Earth at a significant percentage of light speed. At the moment, we see no such thing. It's been a long time since we had any proton events. The proton flux is flatlined. And we're having a little flare happening here as we stream the video. So a little C-class flare happening there as we stream. We'll show you where that's coming from toward the end of the video here. Let's take a look at the last 24 from the perspective of SDO in ionized iron, 131 angstroms. It is the hottest wavelength that SDO covers. That's the hottest temperature there of all the different AIA wavelengths. And we'll get to that flaring here in just a moment. By the way, flaring has been massively underperforming. Many of those sunspots are magnetically complex and quite large. The number of solar flares coming from those has been quite small. Very, very small. Next, we'll take a brief look at a star chart, as I'm always interested in what's going on above my head. It's a little bit too cloudy to see what's going on up there right now, but Mars and the Moon are setting in the west. The yellow line is the ecliptic, the blue line is the galactic plane as Cygnus rises in the northeast. This is what's going on in the solar system. Here's a one-week forecast. It looks like we are on a full moon. Happy full moon to all of our lunatics. There's where things will be in 1 week. We will have a gibbous waning moon on December 14th. Next, looking at some coronagraphs. Here's yesterday. Very calm as far as corona mass ejections yesterday, but it looks like one happening there just around midnight down here in the southeast, and it's a slow mover because it's still happening now, actually. It's taking quite a long time there to eject. Doesn't look like it's earthly directed at all, as it looks like it's really far to the south and a bit to the east as well. Let's take a look at stereo A to see if we can get any more information about that, as well as the Soho-Lascaux C3 at Lagrange 1. Stereo A out here at Lagrange 5. Depicted here on your left, Soho-Lascaux C3 here on the right. And from the perspective of Soho-Lascaux C3, Earth would be behind you. From the stereo A, it would be off to the right. And yeah, we don't have any Earth-directed CMEs. Things are quite calm on that front. Let's take a look at the last 24 hours in composite. And we've got SDO ionized helium plus Soho-Lascaux C2 and C3. Here's a further zoom out view. The same time frame, the last 24 hours. We show a daily because it is a daily space weather. If Elon Musk watched the videos, he wouldn't have lost all those Starlink satellites because he would have delayed the launch. Simply by watching our video, we forecasted the geomagnetic storm. Why Starlink didn't know about it, I have no idea. Hey Elon, why are we shadow banned on Twitter? Oh, what's wrong? You can't hear me because you can't see the content? Oh, gee, what a surprise. Next, looking at filaments here. The likelihood of coronal mass ejections is still nearly 100%. Look at all the filaments, all those dark regions. Those are absorption features. And those are all suspended plasma out in the solar corona, similar to these prominences, but facing Earth. So you see all those dark regions. This is the Elon Musk. This is the Eugene Bagashov. And this one down here is the Nancy Pelosi. If you've got names for other filaments, let us know in the comments. We're always interested in your naming filaments after living people. So here's the past 24 hours from the house favorite wavelength, 171 angstroms. And next we're going to move to the GOES 16 SUVI and see where that solar flare is coming from. If you've got any guesses, let us know in the comments. Leave us a comment. Tell us where you think that solar flare is coming from. I'm going to guess that it is from this sunspot group over here on the northeastern limb, and let's take a look. So this is the last about 2.5 hours from the GOES 16 SUVI. And it looks like the currently occurring flare good question. Is it coming from this non-sunspot up here? It could be this group right here, this little region right here. Not sure on that. It's a pretty small flare anyway. But with the relative lack of solar flares in the past couple of days here, with this many sunspots, it's surprising to see that few flares. And let's move to our bonus feature segment. This is the satellite's community dashboard here. No charging hazards. It's smooth sailing for satellites here at the moment. GOES electron flux here, seeing a little bit of a dip there, at least as the GOES 17 measures it. And an increase there, going into warning levels, is the GOES 16. So a divergence there in the electron flux as some higher density solar plasma arrives. Here's the relativistic electron forecast model. And you can see NOAA there expecting a significant dip. I would tend to agree it might happen a little faster than their forecast, but no major arguments there. There's the one-year chart to put the relativistic electrons in context. Those are measured at the F flare of the ionosphere, located at 300 kilometers of altitude, and that's what we'll show next, the vibrational frequency of the bridge between Earth and space. So we're seeing huge low-frequency anomalies happening around South America. So it will be a lot more obvious in the anomalygram. This is the basic vibrational frequency in megahertz. Let that play through. And here is the anomalygram. And you'll see this enduring low-frequency anomaly around South America. This is the anomaly in megahertz from the 30-day median. You can see that central Atlantic anomaly there, stretching from Africa to South America and then kind of hanging out there. That is a noteworthy ionospheric anomaly. Here's the latest image, 11:15 Universal Time ionogram, 11:15 Universal Time anomalygram. And we'll also take a look at the total electron content forecast. The total electron content forecast depicts the electrons between your GPS satellite and your handset. The most likely place for GPS errors at the moment would be around places like Madagascar and the African Rift Zone there, southeastern Africa. And here's your total electron content forecast. We can expect to see this get a little bit chaotic with the coronal hole high-speed stream. We're already seeing electrons well out of place here. GPS errors around the Southern Ocean and so on. Also North American GPS errors. You can see quite a few electrons here out of place. We typically see the highest concentrations around the equator at noontime, but at the moment, some GPS errors in some perhaps unexpected locations. That is the total electron content forecast. Expect it to get even more chaotic in the coming days. Next, our latest intensitygram and latest colorized magnetogram. Go ahead, you can load, I dare you. There you go. There's the rock back. These new sunspots are fairly magnetically uninteresting, actually. They look like alpha class sunspots to me. Let's check. That's alpha class. This one here. This one here. Also alpha class. So the likelihood of those producing large flares isn't that high. But the likelihood of large flares is very high, as we've got magnetically complex sunspot groups here. And let's bring up one more series of composites. This is quite a lively one, showing 211, 304, and 171 angstroms. That is the data from yesterday plus today. And that brings us to the end of our space weather content. It's time to move to the realm of meteorology. Here at the Smash News Network, we like to throw in some bonus features. So, of course, we've got playlists and so on. If you're viewing the videos on BitChute, get on YouTube because you're missing a bunch of the content. You're not seeing our product reviews and lots of other things. So make sure you check us out on YouTube if you're not seeing us there. If you are on YouTube and you haven't seen our playlists, make sure you check those out. We don't only bring you the most detailed imagery of the sun in the world and the most comprehensive space weather, but we've also got additional content like music, for example. You can find a link to the 12 Days of Smashmas on the Twitter page. Twitter.com/Smashomash is the main social media that we use. Look at the pathetic followers. By the way, censorship is not fixed by any stretch of the imagination. Shadow bans continue as admitted by Elon Musk, who will fill up your feed with his nonsensical tweets even if you don't follow him. So that's annoying. As social media sites continue to promote already ultra-famous and ultra-rich, boring, stale celebrities parroting boring, stale ideas. But at least you can find the 12 Days of Smashmas there. So if you haven't seen that, we've released 6 songs already, another one coming today. It's the 7th day of Smashmas. What will we release on the 7th day of Smashmas? Well, you'll have to find out, but we've already got 6 tracks up there, 6 bits of original music. If you haven't checked it out, you can find links on the home YouTube page at youtube.com/Smashomash. If you go to playlists, you'll find it there. You'll also find links to SureMed. If you want to improve your health, the American Better Health Organization wants to improve your health as well. So consider becoming a member of SureMed. The base membership alone gives you access to all kinds of things like doctors by phone, counselors by phone, virtual veterinarians, 15 to 50% discounts on dental, huge discounts on vision like prescription eyeglasses and so on, and lots more. Also access to group insurance if you're looking for a non-underwritten accident policy or a non-underwritten hospital indemnity policy or something like that. All kinds of insurance, even dental and vision insurance available, as well as the association membership. Don't forget to visit us on the homepage at smashomash.com. Help us out with clicks if you're unable and unwilling to open your cobweb-encrusted wallet and send us a few bucks per month by becoming a member of the Smash Team. At least help us out with clicks. Visit us on social media. Let us know in the comments what your favorite social media site is. Let us know your gripes with social media. We're interested in all of that. We do read all of our comments. Thanks to everybody who's left comments over the past pushing 6 years of producing the most detailed space weather content in the world. Today's featured product is, to be announced, save 25% on everything across the store. Check it out. We have a new bestseller. It's Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera. Thanks to all of our viewers who've picked up merch. Give Smash staff a raise by picking up some Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera merch, perhaps. The great colorful design there is a message of hope and of positivity. No matter how, if you're going through hell, keep going. That's a Winston Churchill quote, by the way. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, so don't throw the Virgin in the volcano and don't pole vault it. If you're doing a volcanic vacation, leave your vault pole at home. And if you're shopping for Christmas gifts, perhaps pick up somebody some Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera merch. If you know somebody who's considering a pole vault over the volcanic caldera of an active volcano, advise them against it and perhaps send them a t-shirt or something like that from our Redbubble shop. Again, save 25% site-wide while the sale lasts. Next thing we're looking at here is, oh my God, the Earth is burning up. There's ultraviolet light, and that's the brightest, shiniest part of the planet right there. That's the UV index. And we use it on yesterday's thumbnail because we want to make our thumbnails look very scary and spooky because fear sells. And of course, we do have some fun with our thumbnails. And of course, poke fun at some of the nonsense that you'll find all over the internet. Remember, folks, the oldest grift ever, and good morning, Tin Man 1057, the oldest grift ever is, the end is near, repent now, make sure you support our whatever, because we're going to tell you how to survive. Because even though the end is near, your soul is going to do something or other. And anyway, you get the idea. The end is near is the oldest grift ever, as old as probably language itself. Don't fall for it. It's complete and utter nonsense. Whoever's saying it, I could really care less who is saying the end is near. What a crock. Check it out. We got a powerful low here in the Bay of Bengal. These are the surface winds of the eastern world, like sands through the hourglass of time. These are the jet streams of our lives. So those are the jet streams of the east. Here are the jet streams of the west. As we cross the international date line and provide valuable information. Cold air dipping down from Canada. We've got a doubled up jet stream here over North America and a convergence on the central U.S. and a divergence in the North Atlantic. Some chaotic jet stream activity there for sure. Here are the surface winds of the west. Dual powerful lows happening there. Are we going to see a December hurricane? There's been talk of it. Oh my God. Dear God. Pretty strong winds there at 54 miles an hour at quick glance. Here are the surface winds of the central world. And these are the jet streams of the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. Looking like a cold day in Germany here at the moment as some Arctic air is blowing down from Finland and so on. Actually from Norway. Continuing on to our clouds and fog. This is clouds and fog over the Americas. It's a 3.9 nanometer radiation satellite taking imagery of the croissant-shaped Earth and projecting it onto a spherical template. So people think the planet is shaped like a sphere, trying to hide the fact that Earth is croissant-shaped. How dare you, NASA, and how dare you people believe NASA's lies that the Earth is roughly spherical in shape. Everybody knows that Earth is shaped like a croissant. Next. Weather.gov map. If your county's lit or your waterway, click your county or your waterway. That's what's going on. Those are a lot of winter weather advisories there. Let's scroll down briefly to show the key. Lots of winter weather advisories and lots of fog around the Gulf Coast. Again, if your county's lit, click your county on weather.gov. It's a little bit too much information to go over. Avalanche warnings there in Colorado. And let's check snow based on the GFS model. This is the next 72 hours based on the GFS model for snow depth change in inches. More significant snows there coming, especially to Northern California, expecting pushing 2 feet in some areas there. Let's take a look at the GFS model for precipitation and pressure. So there's precipitation and pressure for the next 72 hours based on the GFS model. Some very heavy weather coming to Northern California. They're right at the end of that run. That is some heavy metal weather there showing up at the California-Oregon border in about 3 days. Next, looking at pressure. This is our pressure map from windy.com. Let's advance this. There's where pressure will be in about 3 days. You can see that low approaching Vancouver. And this low in the Atlantic actually expecting to move to the north a little bit. So as it approaches colder water, the likelihood of it strengthening, I would say probably drops. So there's your sea temperatures. You can see the water getting much colder there as it gets to about in line with, say, Massachusetts there. So the farther north it moves, the less likely it is to become hurricane force. Next, looking at our NASA GOES lightning mapper here, we do have some terrestrial strikes over the U.S. Places like Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia. And let's see if we have any current strikes. We saw some lightning southwest of Memphis. But at the moment, things are looking pretty calm. Oh, some new strikes there. I stand corrected. Tunica Airport, there is thunder rolling in south of Memphis. So that's our real-time lightning map. We like to show the teeth of the storms from lightningmaps.org. Next time you hear thunder, check it out. You can convince the natives that you're Zeus or something like that by forecasting thunder, or perhaps look like a villain in a horror movie. Next to U.S. Doppler radar map, there's the full 50-state view of the U.S. Former nation, now Banana Republic. Here are the lower 48. So huge band of moisture there stretching all the way from El Paso and beyond to Newfoundland, the Gulf of Lawrence, St. Lawrence, and so on. Here is clouds and fog over the lower 48. Here is water vapor over the lower 48. And here's your recap. We'll be closing things out. Following this Doppler radar run, ground-based systems measuring vertical motion of water droplets, space-based systems showing infrared radiation at the 3.9 nanometer wavelength. That is infrared radiation, and here is water vapor showing all the water vapor, not just the water vapor condensed onto clouds, but all of it. Probably the most definitive map you'll see, and that is where we close things out. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather. Congratulations on realizing that the channel exists. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash and Mash, signing off. And may that solar wind be at your back.